right to the shortstop off contact. Hayward was headed home. He's in a rundown, and he avoided the tag, and all hands are safe.
Welcome back to the Rundown Media. My name is Abe Hicks with my main man, Dylan Kearns. We are back better than ever. The MLB season is right around the corner. We could not be more excited. Can't wait to have baseball back. Dylan, how you doing? How you feeling?
Doing well. On vacation right now, so that's always fun. And what better way to be on vacation than with baseball later in the week, right? We got opening day coming about, so that's always fun. It's one of my favorite holidays of the year, next to Christmas and Thanksgiving and Easter. I mean, other than those three, I think MLB opening day has got to be right up there, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I am super excited. In this episode, we're going to dive into our MLB predictions. Awards predictions, for example, Rookie of the Year, Manager of the Year, Cy Young, MVP, and our World Series matchup and winner. So we're going to get right into it. We're not going to waste any more time. Dylan Kearns, who are your Rookie of the Year for the AL and the NL?
All right, you know what? I'll take a first stab here. We're going to start in the National League. And I'll be honest here, looking at National League Rookie of the Year, there's a lot of uncertainty. Everyone wants to say, all right, the Jordan Walkers, the Corbin Carrolls, those type of guys. I'm going to give you two names that are a little bit under the radar. One of them being out in Los Angeles. No doubt about it in my mind. I personally think Miguel Vargas will win National League Rookie of the Year. I mean, you put him in a lineup that has nothing but protection around him. I mean, you got Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Will Smith. I mean, there's guys up and down that lineup. You have Gavin Lux missed the year, obviously, to his torn ACL. He has nothing but opportunity in front of him. No better place than the Dodgers. Hey, they've had two NL Rookie of the Years in the last 10 years. You had Cody Bellinger in 17, right the year before him. You had Corey Seager. I'm telling you, they let their kids play. There's something special there. I think Miguel Vargas is the guy. I'll give you a sleeper in the National League as well.
Let's hear it.
Watch out for Hayden Wesneski of the Chicago Cubs. You saw Spencer Strider come out of nowhere and pitch. Wesneski had a cup of coffee last year at a sub-2.3 ERA in 6 starts for the Cubbies, and he's pitched well in spring training. That guy is not at a bad start in a Cubs uniform. So I'm just saying, he got the 5th spot in the rotation. Give him 30 starts, maybe a little bit less than that due to some arm issues. Just keep him young. He's young arm. Don't overwork him. But I'm telling you, keep an eye on Wesneski as a deep sleeper for the year.
That's a great pick. I'm a huge fan of Wesneski. Obviously, he used to be in the Yankees system. Wish we still had him because we are lacking pitching depth. But that's neither here or there. Dylan, what about your AL Rookie of the Year?
Everyone's saying Gunnar Henderson, right? Oh, yeah, here's Gunnar. He's going to be able to play every day in Baltimore. I think you got to look at someone else in the AL East. And I'm not talking about your boy Anthony Volpe. I think he's going to be a good
We'll get there later.
Masataka Yoshida.
I had a feeling you were going to go there.
I'm telling you that straight out of Japan. And sometimes the transition is tough. You looked at Seiya Suzuki last year. He was a pretty solid ball player, 268. He had a little bit of transitioning up and down. I remember Boog Shambi said on the broadcast last year during Cubs games, it's not just the adaptation to, okay, this is how we play baseball in America, the pitches and seeing all the nasty stuff on the field. You got to talk about, all right, now we're traveling with the team hotels, being around different cities you've never been to in your life before, not being able to speak the language, your translators with you 24/7. There's a lot of things to factor into your first season. So that's why that transition's always tough. But I'll tell you what, I saw Yoshida rake in the World Baseball Classic, and that's a guy who's going to go into Boston. He's got a good ballpark to play with. He's got a fan base that probably get on him, but maybe you give him a little bit of time coming over from Japan. I think he's a good fit in their lineup. He's someone to keep an eye on in the AL.
I like that. I like that pick. I really do. All right. You mentioned him earlier for the AL, but my Rookie of the Year in the AL is nobody other than Anthony Volpe. I mean, they just announced today that he's going to be the starting shortstop for the Yankees on opening day. He is the youngest. He's the youngest player on this team and the youngest guy to start on the Yankees opening day since Derek Jeter. and they're both 21 years old. Now, I'm not comparing him to Derek Jeter anyway. Obviously, he has a whole career to play out, but I expect him to have a good year, a huge year. He hits the ball over the field. I mean, he's been tearing the ball off the cover this spring. Not only that, he runs really, really well. I remember earlier this spring training, he stole 2 bases on back-to-back pitches. Stole second, stole third. I mean, how often do we see that? I expect Anthony Volpe to bring a juice, injection of youth to this Yankees team that they have been needing for years. Not just, calling up some, Estevan Florial from AAA. No, I mean somebody with significant and real talent. The Yankees need that. I expect him to bring that stigma to the importance of being shortstop for the New York Yankees. What do you think about that?
I'll tell you what I think about that. I think I told you in our last episode that, hey, don't worry about shortstop and left field. It's going to be Volpe's job. I told you it was going to be Volpe's job. You got to listen to me.
Okay,
And the
but
Dodgers
knowing
are doing the same
Cashman,
thing.
yeah,
You got to let the kids play. That's what you're doing. You're trusting your system in events like that. You're not overpaying for Correa. You got Volpe.
exactly.
I told you that. That's how I told everybody, right? The Astros won by playing Pena. You just got to do it.
Yeah.
It's all right.
But
you have a good enough lineup
here's
around.
Here's my thought process last week. Knowing Cashman and Boone, Cashman, he likes to prospect hug. That's how he's always been. I didn't think he was going to unleash Volpe, no matter how good his spring was. And he proved me wrong today, which I'm glad he did. Going to the NL, my NL Rookie of the Year, another 21-year-old. You mentioned him earlier, Jordan Walker. This guy has stupid power. This guy can flat out rake. And you were talking about protection earlier with Miguel Vargas. I mean, this guy's going to have Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado in the lineup. I don't know where exactly they're going to place him in the order, but that's not a bad spot to be in. To be in St. Louis, a great organization, I expect Jordan Walker to have a huge year as well.
Yeah, he's the favorite right now in the National League, and rightfully so. You put him in that team, put him in that lineup. It's a good situation for him. And you didn't even mention that Wilson Contreras in that lineup now. And then you got the on base guy, Tommy
O'Neill.
I mean, yeah, you got O'Neill's speed. There's a lot to play with in that lineup that it's going to be hard if you start pitching around guys. You might have to deal with Jordan Walker, who's been a top prospect for so many years. So now he gets the chance to really unleash that potential and see what he can do for a ball club that's looking to win a World Series this year.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Moving on to the manager of the year for both the AL and NL. I'll start this one off, Dylan. For the AL, I got the Seattle Mariners head skipper Scott Service. Really liked what he did last year. Did a great job managing the youth, and he got some postseason experience. With that being said, I expect him to take off this year. They got great pitching. They got great youth. Obviously, one of the best young players in the game, Julio Rodriguez. I don't know if they're going to compete for the AL West, but I expect them to have a fantastic year. I think, Matt, I'll take that back. I expect them to compete for the AL West. I don't expect them to win it, but I think they'll compete for the AL West. Give that Manager of the Year award to Scott Service.
I like it. I mean, it's a nice pick. I think it's a little
safe
bit
pick.
safe, but yeah,
safe
it's safe.
pick.
But I mean, it's a good one for sure because I mean he got that team to the postseason last year. So I mean, you give him a roster now. You added Teoscar Hernandez, people around him. So he makes good decisions. He could definitely be in that running of getting winning baseball back to Seattle.
Yeah. All right. Well, you mentioned how that was a safe pick. Well, I'm jumping into the deep end here, and my NL Manager of the Year. Your guy, David Ross.
Wow.
David Ross. Yes, I know you were not expecting that, but hear me out. All right. He has experience. Was last year his first year as manager, right? Or his second year?
2020.
So this is his third year?
Yeah. He's been there.
All right. So he's been there for a while now. Yes, he probably didn't have the roster to win games in the division. In the league, but I have this feeling inside. I think the Cubs may be able to make a magical run. And what I mean by magical is I think they'll give the Cardinals some trouble in the NL Central. Obviously, the Cardinals are the favorite in that division, but I think David Ross can spark these Cubbies with the addition of Cody Bellinger if they can get him right, if he can get back to his old self, and the addition of Dansby Swanson, which I really like that signing. I think they can win a ton of games this year and be a wild card team, and possibly, if the ball bounces their way in the postseason, they maybe be able to make a run in the postseason.
All right, define make a run here. We're talking about the Chicago Cubs. Think Nicky Two Strikes Magical will be up there hitting the ding dong in the playoffs?
I said I was jumping in on the deep end. He said my last pick was too safe, and this might be too dangerous.
We live dangerously around here. Looking at mine, I'll say this. I'm going to start in the National League, and I think maybe it's a safe pick, but I'll give you some context behind it. Look at Bob Melvin out in San Diego. I think that is a great pick. This guy's a phenomenal manager. You look at what he did in Oakland. Obviously, it's tough to win games with that roster in the playoffs. They had Matt Olson, they had Matt Chapman, they had a couple pieces, good pitching. But that guy still won games every single freaking year in that division, which was pretty bad, I'll be honest. Seattle wasn't great at the time. Texas was a horse shit show. And then you have everyone else behind them, and then obviously the Astros. So looking at that division, I really saw Bob Melvin just step up and win games. So he was able to get to the wild card a couple times in Oakland. Now you put him on a roster in San Diego. What does he do his first year? Takes him to the NLCS, right? That's a pretty good team, and it's a good foundation with a great general manager and a couple aggressive moves. Not even a couple. They went all in. They bring in Xander Bogaerts. They add some other pieces. There's no better man for the job than Bob Melvin out in San Diego. And I think he's a lock. He's a lock for manager of the year in the National League. You just put him with that roster, let him do his thing, win games the way he did in Oakland, just do it in San Diego, get over that hump and get them to the World Series. Just as Morgan Wallen said in 98 Braves, took it out by them damn Padres. You better watch out for
Great reference to Morgan Wallen. Wasn't expecting that. Who do you got for your AL manager of the year?
This is tough, Abe. I'll be honest with you. This is a very, very tough one. Terry Francona was nice last year. Came out of nowhere, won a lot of games.
Nobody expected him.
Nobody expected him. If Toronto had a good foundational manager, like someone with a track history, I'd say it's them, but I don't trust him to get over the hump. I don't. I think they have a good roster. I think they're built to win. I just don't think I can give that award to the Toronto Blue Jays strictly because the name. That's why I didn't give it to Oliver Marmol of the Cardinals. Like, give me someone that I know wins. It's a Brian Snitker. It's one of those. So you look in the American League.
Or think about this, somebody that has a tough job, but like Terry Francona last year. He had a tough job with that roster, but you know what? He willed his way to making it to the postseason, winning the division.
He did, and that's where I'm going with this pick. And the pick is going to the American League East. Give me some Brandon Hyde of the Baltimore Orioles. He won a lot of games last year. You got Gunnar Henderson at third this year. You have Adley Rutschman in his second season. You finally have some pieces around him. Grayson Rodriguez might get the call later this year. I'm telling you, this team is – I'm not going to say the Orioles are freaking killers out here, but they won a few games last year, a little more than expected. Brandon Hyde's been a great manager and a little bit under the radar because he had a horrible roster. But he was Joe Madden's bench coach in 2000 during the World Series runs, all the great years. The Cubs, I wouldn't even say dynasty, but their little run of being relevant. He was a good bench coach for them. He leaves, he goes to Baltimore, and he's been a solid manager there. So this is his first crack at saying, hey, can you show me something? Give me Brandon Hyde in the American League and give me Bob Melvin in the National League.
I like that. Very solid, two solid choices there. Moving on to Cy Young. Best pitcher in each league. Dylan, who are your guys?
This is tough.
This is tough.
But I think it's a lock in the National League.
Lock. There's a lot of good pitchers in the National League.
There are. But there's one guy. Watch out for Max Fried. Max Fried is going to shove this year in the National League. And I'll tell you why. This guy, little bit of not really a contract dispute, but he's trying to get paid. You saw Atlanta pay everyone else. They're giving Ozzie the cheap deal. They're giving Acuna the cheap deal. Michael Harris the cheap deal. Sure, you let Dansby walk. You're making trades and signing guys. Give Sean Murphy a big extension. Give Matt Olson a big extension. Where's the loyalty to your left-handed pitcher that you traded many
Your
years?
ace.
You got in a trade who got drafted by the Padres in 2014, came through, was a big part. I believe it was a Justin Upton trade. Max Fried is just shoved for this team. He's been consistent down the stretch. You got to give him that contract. And I think he's not a fiery guy. Max Fried just goes out there with that same face and just takes the ball. But I'll tell you what, this guy's got to be pissed off from a contract perspective. His arbitration, they went into talks with that. It was a little bit of a hearing. It wasn't even, hey, this is it. All right, we match it. They were a little bit off on their arbitration hearing. So this is a guy who's got to be pissed off, and he wants to go out there and shove for a team that's still looking to win a World Series. So I think Max Fried comes out pissed off with a vengeance this year and just carves up people like Thanksgiving turkeys.
I love that pick. I like that. Who's your AL?
Looking at the American League, do you trust DeGrom in Texas?
Not at all.
Me neither. I think
he's already hurt.
Yeah. I mean, he's always hurt. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
You know what you're going to get there.
Exactly.
I think in the American League, it's a very tough one, but I'm going for it. Sticking with the Toronto Blue Jays, not looking at Alek Manoah. Give me Kevin Gausman.
Wow.
Kevin Gausman. I think that splitter's nasty. I think he's really honed himself into being one of the best pitchers in baseball the last few years. He's kind of forgotten in that rotation. You look at the other pieces in there. You have Jose Barrios. You have brought in Chris Bassett. Obviously, Alek Manoah, the big fat ass in there. But I'm telling you, you look beyond that. I really like Kevin Gausman. He got a nice contract from Toronto. I think he pitches well this year, and he wins himself an AL Cy Young. You'll notice everything that I've said so far has not been a sexy pick.
No,
I've kind of been gone under the radar, but these are guys who are going to have fantastic years for their respective ball clubs.
Yeah, those are definitely was not expecting some of those, Dylan. Not even gonna lie. All right, I just want to pull up the numbers for one of my guys here. Who I have winning. Oh yeah. Okay. All right, moving on to my Cy Young winners. For the AL, this may sound generic, whatever, I don't care. Shohei Ohtani. He's the jack of all trades. We got a preview of it, in the WBC. The dude that's just lights out. Now, here's the thing that's kind of held me back a little bit from choosing him. I wonder if the Angels are going to take a step back and let him focus on hitting, and let that be his primary job. But let's be honest, he's also their best pitcher. So I don't know if that's something they can let go of. But Shohei Ohtani, he shoves, he throws 100 miles per hour. His slider is disgusting. You can't go wrong with Shohei Ohtani. What do you think about that?
It's a good pick. It's a very, very good pick. I do think he's a better hitter than pitcher. I think
agree.
He's got good stuff. I don't know if he has top the line. Holy shit, he pitched to a 2.8 or a 2.18 this year, 2.20, whatever that ERA is. You still got to look at the factors. All right, can you get that production on an Angels team? If he goes, his record's not going to look good. That doesn't really matter in the Cy Young voting. But I would say I don't know if I trust his pitching ability that much. But I'm not saying it's a bad pick.
Okay, I'm thinking this is a little off topic, but it involves Shohei Ohtani. What we did see in the WBC, he came in and closed the ninth. Do you see the Angels using him as possibly a reliever / closer?
I tell you what, his next team is going to be pissed if anybody, all 29 baseball teams are watching Shohei Ohtani this year, saying, "Man, this guy's going to be a free agent next year." They're looking at him saying, "All right, what can he bring to us?" If the freaking Angels go out there and they find a way to mess up with the way that he's doing it right now, there's going to be 29 pissed off organizations. Probably 30 because the Angels will realize what they did. But I'm telling you, that's a messed up move. So I don't.
You wouldn't do it.
No, just ride him out the way he is. Play baseball the way he has. You're still trying to win here. If you're trying to win, you haven't had pitching since God knows when. It's been forever since Jared Weaver took the mound. You haven't won
Yeah.
a game starting pitching, dead ass.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. But you really look at it. I don't think Shohei Ohtani. I think you have to keep him in that role.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Just wanted to see where you were thinking on that. All right. My NL Cy Young. The NL is stacked with a lot of pitchers. And my only worry about this pick, this guy, the team isn't as good. But now that I'm thinking, last year, who won the Cy Young? Sandy Alcantara. The Marlins weren't any good. I got Zach Gallen from the Arizona Diamondbacks winning a Cy Young. Yep. He had a really good year last year, went 12-4, 2.54 ERA, had a whip of 0.91. In 184 innings, he had 192 strikeouts. And he had 31 games. He was healthy last year. So
he was a tale of two halves.
Okay. Yeah, okay. You're right. But I think this year he'll put it all together, in my opinion. I think he puts it all together. He has a Cy Young year.
It's fair. I don't hate the pick. I don't. He's got nasty stuff. If you want to see a Cy Young winner, you look at the stuff. If the stuff
Yes.
matches command and command matches health, those three things will win you a Cy Young award.
That's
and
good.
Almost did for Dylan Cease last year.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right, moving on to all right, we got MVP next, and then we'll finish this off with the World Series. I'll just start it off with my MVP. My AL, you can call me generic again, but I got Shohei Ohtani.
Got him winning the Cy Young
I
and
do.
the MVP.
I do. I think
He'll get 800 million.
I think we see a legendary year from Shohei Ohtani if he stays healthy. I mean, he's the best pitcher on the Angels. You could argue he's obviously one or two of their best hitters on the Angels. This guy's amazing, something we've never seen before. He's better than Babe Ruth. Yes, to all the old heads, he is better than Babe Ruth. We have never seen this before, definitely not in our lifetimes. I got Shohei Ohtani winning the Cy Young and MVP. For my NL, he had a pretty shaky year last year. Definitely not a season we typically see from this player, but I got Juan Soto winning the NL MVP. He's I in my opinion, I think with the guys he has surrounded in that lineup, it's going to be tough to pitch around Juan Soto. He's still going to work a lot of walks. That's what he always does. But I think he hits for more power this year. I think he sprays it around the field more. He strikes out less. I expect a huge year from Juan Soto.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, you put him in that lineup. I told you, like the Padres have everything going for him. I don't hate that pick. It's a good pick too. He's a front runner, by the way, in the NL.
Yeah. What about you? Who are your guys win the MVP?
All right, my American League MVP. Now he has some protection in his lineup. Give me Jose Ramirez. He's come so close so many times. I'm telling you, he's always top three. Always top three in the MVP voting at the end of the year. One of the most underrated things about Jose Ramirez, I'll stat check this for a second. That guy's a fast base runner, and he steals a lot of bags. No one really expects him to steal bags. Last year, he had 20 stolen bases. You think he's a pudgy third baseman? No, he'll steal a couple bags. I'm telling you, Hammy's a good ball player. He's a switch hitter, spreads it all across the field. The thing with me, every single year for him is starting slow.
Yes, the cold weather.
He goes there, April, May, he's hitting like 190, and the next thing you know, he still finishes 312. Like, holy heck, if you did that in the beginning of the year, you're probably sitting 340 with some memorabilia on your mantle when you go home. But realistically speaking, he's in a lineup now. There's protection around him. It's not him, Lindor, and whatever else you can piece together. I'm telling you, you got Josh Bell, a switch hitter behind him. You got an on-base guy and Steven Kwan, Ahmed Rosario, Andres Jimenez, people that can put the ball in play. He's going to have 100 RBIs, a lock, is an absolute lock for him next year. He had last year he had 126. So I'm telling you, this guy is a lock for driving in runs. He'll have people on base for him. Really like Jose Ramirez. Don't sleep on the speed either. And in the National League, my MVP, I wanted to go Acuna so bad because I think he returns. But I already said Max Fried, and it's weird if you have a Cy Young and someone from the same team.
Yeah, they would have to have a great season. Yeah.
So I'm going to pivot that and say Mookie Betts. Every other year, the guy
I
is
thought
hurt.
about him. I thought about him
Every other year, the guy
every
has
other year.
I'm telling
Yep.
you, and this is one where you're like, all right, this is where he's going to step up, hit a bunch of freaking bombs, and he's going to play well. They're going to need a lot of production out of Mookie Betts this year, and I think he delivers for him. And those are my two picks.
He also had a very strong World Baseball Classic too. So I was very close to picking Mookie Betts. He was my second choice. All right. With the cherry on top of this podcast, we're gonna go with give our World Series matchup and winners. For me,
go division winners.
I didn't do division winners. Unless you want to
Let's
just
go by division.
crap.
You
Now I
gotta
gotta
say how many
think.
games they win.
Yeah,
It's
no,
just
you're right. Yeah. All right. AL East, Yankees. The Central, AL Central. Oh, I got Guardians. AL West, Astros. NL East, Braves. Just because I don't trust the Mets. NL Central, Cardinals. NL West, the Padres.
Okay. My division winners, AL East, I have the New York Yankees. I have in the Central, I'll go Cleveland Guardians. I have the Seattle Mariners winning the West.
Wow. Okay.
Bold. That's bold. NL East, I'm also sticking with the Braves. Central, another sleeper for manager of the year. Didn't happen. Craig Counsell wins ball games. Not saying the Brewers are going to win the division. I don't think they have any sort of hitting unless Jesse Winker, your sleeper, comes through.
Yeah.
I'll say the St. Louis Cardinals and give me the Dodgers in the West.
All right. With that being said, Dylan, what is your World Series matchup and who's your winner?
My World Series matchup has the San Diego Padres from the National League making it all the way to the World Series to take on the New York Yankees.
Wow. And who wins?
I'll let you say yours first, and then I'll give my winner.
Well, we got one team. We agree on one team being in there. It's not who you think it is. I got the Padres. Padres against the Astros.
You really think the Astros are going to keep this going?
I sure do.
You really think they're going to keep going to the World Series?
Nobody is
Every
on their
single
level.
year. Every single year they're in the CS of the World Series since 17. And you think that they're going to keep this going?
They are the
smart.
Patriots of football. Or Patriots of baseball.
Wow.
So yeah.
Not a bad take. I mean, you can't go wrong there. You've seen it happen every year.
Yeah.
It's like saying Tom Brady or LeBron isn't going to do anything. You know it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So
all right, who's your winner? Who's your winner?
My winner, man, health plays a lot here. I got the San Diego Padres winning in 7 games over the New York Yankees.
Wow. You're right. Health plays a role in this too, but I got the San Diego Padres over the Houston Astros in 7 games.
We both have the Padres in 7?
We do. When did we ever agree on anything?
Never. That's why we're doing this.
Yep. So you heard that right. Me and Dylan, we both have the San Diego Padres hosting the Commissioner's Trophy in October or November, whenever the season ends. But yeah, that'll do for this show. This is the preview show coming out before the season starts on Thursday. Please leave a like and subscribe. We're really trying to grow, especially on YouTube. But feel free to follow us on TikTok, Instagram. We're growing a lot there. Twitter. Follow us everywhere. We're on every single social media app. Thank you for all your support. And we have a bunch of content coming to you this season. So please stay tuned. Keep your notifications on. See ya.